I think it stopped at some point.
For oh, now yes, we see recursion. Yes, we can see your screen. Perfect,
Right.
perfect.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. So hi everyone. What I'm planning to talk today is like prototype, build, and deploy apps with AI. So it's like if you guys have heard of new Firebase Studio, I thought okay, as Flutter developers and the overall topic of the meetup is like integrating AI with Flutter. I felt okay, Firebase Studio is a nice thing to share with you guys. So that's what we're gonna explore today, like how you can. So basically, most of the people who like use Flutter, probably you have an app idea, but like before you start the app, you need to like think of okay, how Gemini API is gonna work for my app, and how it's gonna like basically to prototype, right? So you need to see something how when it comes to prototype word, like we haven't thought of in before this year. Probably we were thinking about something static, like using something like Figma or something like that, but it has been rapidly changing. Like now we can see a actually how your idea is working, and you can share it with like certain set of people to try it out as well. So that's the base for my talk, and I'll probably also touch base okay how you can use Gemini Code Assist in Firebase Studio, which is in the early days right now, to probably in future how you can like utilize that as a tool to develop Flutter apps. um I won't talk about myself much. I'm a Google developer expert for Flutter and Dart, and I'm Dilum De Silva. So moving on, I'll create a little bit of background. So why this building apps with AI? My genuine answer to that is like, okay, why not? If it's helpful, if it's something which help us to improve productivity or performance, why don't we consider that, right? So I saw this interesting illustration in during Google I/O 2025 this year, from one of the product managers presentation. It kind of explains exactly when I'm developing something, what are my emotions, or what are my expressions would be in every part of the cycle of developing a software, right? So code feels like I'm kind of blocked in many ways, like one or the other blockers, and I started to build it works on someone's computer, not in everyone's computer, right? And then you start to test. That's where you figure out, like you get surprised by, okay, I didn't even think about like this flow and this particular um chain of actions will create this kind of a reaction, right? So that's where you identify bugs, and like you try to mitigate bugs as much as possible during regression phase or what something like that, and you do relays, and you keep monitor, and you get surprised again because different users, like I'm pretty sure all of you have faced like different users use the apps and the software that you build in different ways, and so that you will see another set of bugs or another set of things that you need to do in the next release to like improve user experience, right? And that kind of like sometimes feel heavy for you, like okay, I didn't expect this. I thought okay, this is a simple app idea that I'm going to release. That is what gonna attract you to the cycle, which is the next cycle of like managing your app that is now released to the general public or something like that. So you have to operate, so you have to put your efforts towards that, right? So basically this is exactly genuinely, for most of us, this is the um expressions that we will do during the software development life cycle, right? So I feel like that is one of the reasons why AI is helpful, because this is again a research done by Gartner. um, so it says by 2028 75% of enterprise software engineers will use AI code assistants. And I would like to highlight the part enterprise software engineers. That means large scale apps that we are using right now, which has like hundreds of thousands of users, or more than that, right? So I would like to call that as an environment where like you have all sorts of stability concerns, all sorts of like guardrails in place to like protect your reputation of the app, or like protect or cater that world class user experience that you want to cater, because you are an enterprise application and you are attached to a business that generates probably a good revenue at the end of the day, right? So what Gartner presents this again, like very interesting illustration, which shows you like so developer on a one end, like on your left, and the AI. So it tells you like, so either it's going to be these three things right now. So one of the developers, or developer is using AI as an assistive tool to write code or more efficiently, write code or it's more efficiently. So it's going to be either these three stages in 2028 most of us going to do, or else like in the middle someone will be like collaborates with AI to design, build application, like like supervision of code bases, basically like to create bugs for you or to review your PRs or something like that. Or else someone could be like development side of things, or the actual human interaction could be very less, and where you provide a certain set of goals to AI, so it creates applications with little or no supervision. So it's like, I don't know, like certain things that you can automate and you find in your workflow, there's no requirement for developer to like go and interact or go and um, do a um, doesn't need to be human controlled, or like this is something that we can automate. So that's some parts, so developer get more time, or more useful time to be productive in other ways. So that is also all of these things that I'm talking in next few slides is like why build apps with AI to support and to understand you that what are my thoughts, and why we should really think about building apps with AI. So this is also a research done by Harvard Business School recently. You have, if you scan the QR on the right hand side, you should be able to see more details about this research, and if you're interested. So what this shows basically is when it was like a research done with AI and without AI individual team. So incorporating AI in the day-to-day life of individual engineer and a team of engineers. So it basically shows you like there's a decrease in negative emotions, that I'm talking about the chart on the left side. So it shows the decrement of negative emotions has been like going up. So when the AI components is added to an individual as well as to a team, and increment of positive emotions also has been going up. So decrement in negative emotions going up and increment of positive emotions going up gives us indicators that okay, there is a opportunity for in the future to integrate AI in actual engineering workflows that would like positively impact on many things. So yeah, that's like as I said, this is like a very high level illustration that I cropped from the research that was I think this was also discussed during Google I/O, so that took my eye, and I had a look at this research, and you guys can read further by scanning the QR or visiting the particular link. So, and also I would like to like quote this. So during Google I/O 2025, Sundar Pichai, CEO of Google, one of the biggest companies that I can think of about when it comes to software, among the others. He said this, like today more than a quarter of all new code at Google is generated by AI, then reviewed and accepted by engineers. So that's the important part. So it doesn't say it's replaced, but it is saying that it was reviewed and accepted by engineers. So what it indicates to us. So basically the next line, this helps our engineers to do more and move faster. I think that's where we are going with, when it comes to building apps with AI. And that brings me to talk about Firebase Studio, which is a kind of an integrated, extensible, like a agentic workplace, where you can prototype, build, and run and manage your web apps, cross-platform apps, backend services, and more that we're gonna talk about later on. So it's a one. If you have been knowing Firebase, it has been evolving over the years to provide more and more backend services for, especially for mobile app development. Not only that, now it supports, like app hosting and with other analytical um, features and many things that we would expect from a backend infrastructure. So now it is providing us, on top of that, it is providing us Firebase Studio, which is like a agentic workspace to, where you can interact with the Google Gemini family, and like to build your applications, and manage your applications. Yeah. So before I come to Firebase Studio, I would like to give like, what's the background to Firebase Studio. If you're someone who's following Google I/O in the past few years, like in Google I/O 2024, they released Project IDX. I was there in California Mountain View when Sundar and the team announced Project IDX. It was like a early days of agentic workspace on a web browser, where we can, like create and interact with a model on the side, and like utilize that to build projects, and like to enhance our project sort of experience. Over the past year, it has been gathering developer feedback, and many feedback from community, and that's a project that has been evolved to date as Firebase Studio at Google I/O 2025, what they released. So to talk about Firebase Studio, it has many features. Some of the main features that you can see as what it shows here. Um, so it's like a, if I'll start from the very right, top right. So it's like a VS Code sort of environment, which is the, you're already used to that sort of a IDE experience. It runs on your browser. It just needs your Google account, and it's designed for collaboration, so you can invite your friends, like share your project on top on Firebase Studio itself, so multiple developers can interact with the project. And it has a live preview. So based on the project type that you are selecting, it could be Flutter, or it could be a web stack, or it could be Angular, or whatever. It has a live preview so that you can easily see what you are developing on a site. And it got AI assistance, that's most, with the context itself. Like you can test code as well as debug with AI assistance, because AI got the context, and you get the opportunity to change the model that you want. It has a inbuilt Gemini model, but I'll show you later how you can, like change the models, and like interact with different models if you have API key. And it is a cloud VM, so it's like anything which is running on a VM or cloud. So you have your terminal, so you have a machine that you can run your commands, Flutter commands, and any other command that you are used to when you're developing the project. And also it got configured environments, like I'll discuss this later on. So you can, like With a one click you can integrate something like Google Maps to your app, or like Firebase, or like Cloud Run to deploy something like that. So that is the other part, which is Google integrations. All Google services, or most of the Google services, is one click away, so you can easily integrate them to your apps. And when it comes to, sorry, I think I didn't talk about the pre-configured environment. So that's where you have like template projects. So you can you can start with a pre-configured environment and a project, and you can just customize later on how to cater what's your requirement. And like I said, it's a web-based solution, or a web-based tool. So when it comes to Firebase Studio, it covers front end, back end, mobile, and more. So this is a screenshot that I took when you go to template section, so and selecting web, and you can see the templates that you can um, the Firebase Studio is supporting. So it has many. So if you select any of the other sections, you will see quite a bunch of templates. So most of the famous ones for any particular um, type of software, like web, backend, you will find them easily on Firebase Studio. So that's come to a point where we try out. Sorry, I was gonna close few tabs. I assume still it's visible, probably my screen. Yes. So so that's where we gonna talk about Firebase Studio. So when you go to Google Firebase Studio, so you will get Firebase Studio, something like this. And when you go there, so you will end up somewhere here, because I already have tried Firebase Studio. That's why I had. So when you enter try Firebase Studio, which is free right now, does not cost you anything to try out this. So I'll give you like a quick glance. What do we have here in Firebase Studio? um First of all, it's still in preview, so that's why I said, okay, this is more like a demonstration, like how you can utilize Firebase Studio to like build things faster, prototype, and like build and probably ship at the end of the day. So I would say, like, I have tried creating near production ready apps using this Flutter apps and prototypes for my ideas that I had, so I can like show it to another person and quickly discuss with them, and like gather some feedback and do improvements, so that later I can come and actually build my mobile app that I'm thinking of. So you start with this kind of dashboard. So basically, it has your Google account linked, so you can join with your Google account, and you have the option to like select theme that you are following. I'm fan of dark theme. So this side, it will show all the existing projects that you have done. So it is kind of a my workspace section, or like any ID that you go, you will see the recent project, something like that. And this tab would show you like shared projects, if you have shared any projects, or if someone has shared with you through Firebase Studio, right? So there are a few ways that you can start a project. If it's a project that you already have, you have the option to import the repo. Like, you can give your um, GitHub repository, or you can upload your project, and from there onwards you can start using AI and collaborate with AI, and like assistants, and build your project. Or else, right now, so I'll come back. There are a couple of limitations when it comes to the current version of Firebase Studio, because it's in a preview right now. But like I said, what I wanted to show you guys is, like, if you're planning to like start with a template. So you, for example, if you're planning to create a Flutter app, and like build something from scratch on Firebase Studio. So you go to mobile, and you have the option to like select Flutter, and then start your project. Or same way that you can start any other project that you are thinking of, or from here itself, like by clicking the logo, if you are familiar with what's the technology stack. Or the most interesting part that I have, I kind of like, is like the option to prototype. Okay, so I'm someone, okay, like when I'm traveling the bus, so when I'm traveling to work, or sometimes I get, okay, it's really nice if I can build this idea, right? So I just wanted to see, few years back I used to, like, draw it on my iPad and couple of screens, but I have many notes like that. Like I used to, you know like like draw something rough, like a actual prototype. I mean, what do you call it, like a very sketchy diagram of how my app would gonna look like, right? Something like that. But they never, some, most of them were like, I never built them, or I never developed them. But now I have the option, actually build a prototype, right, without wasting a lot of time. So let's say I have this idea, so I want to show it to, I would get this situation like, okay, you have a very fantastic idea, but and you know someone who could, like, literally help you as an investor, or like one of your friends who would help you to build this app, and you really want to show them, okay, how this app is going to look like, and what basic features that this app would cater, right? So that is where this prototype with AI becomes very interesting. So what I'm going to build today, is with you guys. Right now I haven't tried anything, but this would be more like a simple app, something very simple, because Firebase Studio, sometimes this, when we work with models, sometimes it could take some time. I don't want to, like, run out of time, so I'll select something very simple. So I was thinking, before the session, so I'll build something. I upload an image of a car, and this app would give me the details, because I'm kind of a fan. I really like the engines, and to, like, understand the performance of these machines. So I would say, like, okay, I upload an image, but I don't know many cars, so I just Google it sometimes. Like, I take a picture and, like, Google search or something like that, if I'm interested. Um so I thought, okay, if what if I have a simple app which acts a photo of a car and tells me a bit about that car, right? So that is something I'm thinking of building. So let's see how we can build that, right? So I want to build an app which tells me the details of a car after analyzing the car image the user uploads. I want to use Gemini API to fetch the details of the car, such as manufactured year, engine capacity, and any other useful. Okay, let's put the make. That's the most important part. Make, manufacture year, engine capacity, and probably current market value, and any other useful information about the car. App should provide an option option to upload car image and send it to Gemini API to analyze and show the analyzed information. Okay, so I'm gonna prototype this with AI. So that's my command. So this is simple English, so you can enter your idea in, like, as much as you are descriptive, it's easy for the AI to understand. So I could have write this in one line. Okay, I need a simple app which analyze a car image and gives me back a uh what do you call, gives me back a information of the car. But most of the times, like when you got an idea, and if you're a software engineer, or like someone who's from the industry, so you have knowledge about how software works, right? So you can provide, okay, use Gemini API, use this API, provide me um like many other things, like provide me a responsive UI or whatever, whatnot you just want AI to do for yourself. So when you do that, the first thing is you get a kind of a summary, we call it a blueprint. So blueprint is like the like if you're building a house, you have a blueprint, right? Something similar, like the initial version, or the like very high level version of your requirement, and what you're going to build is the blueprint. So and you have the option to like customize this blueprint. So I click customize, and I would say I want to change the um, name. So I would prefer something like car spotter, let's say. And core features, you can see it has list down image upload, allow users to upload image of a car, details extractions utilizing Gemini API, market value estimation, use the Gemini API to determine the approximate current market value, right? And information to display any other thing like engine capacity, the things that we talked about. And it also provides a style guideline, which I'm not going to modify here because I'm just going to go ahead with like things. But if you have like a preferred color scheme or things like in your brand, you like if you have already like a kind of a brand, or like a color scheme, or like you are already you if you already have those details, you can enter them here, like a primary color, background color, and accent color. uh, what are the colors that you'd prefer for your application? And you can see it's body and headline. You can provide like, okay, I want this specific font and all that, but I'm going to leave this section without touching that. Style guideline, you have given the option to customize it as much as you want. And you also have the option to, like, if you miss something when you gave the prompt, you will still have the option to go ahead and like put it as core features or whatever. So this is quickly prototyping, right? So because this is like you got an idea, so you know someone who can like invest on your idea or something like that, or like collaborate with you to build this at this particular app. So this is like how you quickly build something, a working prototype of your app without doing much coding. You don't have to be that software engineer knows everything, right? Until you figure out how it's gonna happen. So this is that stage. So I'll go ahead and click on prototype the app. So this will take few minutes. What it is using behind the scenes is like Next.js, the Google preferred or wired technology stack. You can see it's using TypeScript, Next.js, and Tailwind CSS right now. So because this is a prototype, so behind prototyping feature, that this is what they're using. So you can go ahead and click prototype. So until it prototypes, I'll come back to my slides. This is where I wanted to talk few things. So if you want to get started with simple step-by-step guidelines, so this is also one of the really good what do you call it, like um forgot the if you scan this QR, so code labs, sorry, that's what I was thinking. So this is a code lab from Google. So how you can get started with Firebase Studio, so you can easily follow that and like get more information in each step if you couldn't follow me. um so these are few things that I would like to like share with anyone who's trying Firebase Studio for app development. So Firebase Studio is still in its early stage, so you could expect some instability. So I would show you guys some of the things that you can do that I have found from my experience how you can resolve few things like resetting the project and opening it again. And sometimes, like when you do a lot of heavy things, like when you try to integrate many things, it's not the AI part. Sometimes the entire ID itself sometimes become not responsive, or like maybe it gives you like the simulator sort of stuff will not work, will panic, right? So and when exporting existing mobile projects, for example, I haven't found a way to like work with the simulator well, because it spin up a simulator, Android simulator. I'll show you when you import a Flutter project, but that simulator is not very responsive when you try to work on a existing project, or even when if you create a project, and if you create a Firebase Studio Flutter project, and if you start like building it for a while, sometimes it's become very unresponsive. um, so that is one thing to keep in mind. So how I avoid these kind of situations, because when you create a project on Firebase Studio, you have the option to source control it using your GitHub, or like GitLab, or whatever the source controlling platform that you are using. So I also download it on my local right now, but I think Firebase Studio is gonna like improve into a level that you can completely develop something on a web browser without thinking of I think this is the start. That's where we are heading, I think. Right now what I'm doing, I also check out the same project that I'm interacting with AI on Firebase Studio from Android Studio, because I have felt the Gemini assistants running on Android Studio, the one that is running on Firebase Studio, is a little better, and it has more control over doing things like integrating, like I said, Google services on a one click, those kind of things. So I quickly fetch it to my Android Studio via source control, and I run it on a physical simulator that is on my computer, which I have more control and which is more responsive. And code syncing builds can take sometimes significantly longer than usual. So you'll be thinking, okay, I just change a simple thing, and sometimes it doesn't work. That's where those resetting the project and all that comes. Because what I have found, if you have a unstable network connection, sometimes when it's syncing or when it's doing something, doesn't have that proper syncing mechanism, that is, or it's some way or the other, it's the caching, or the like syncing is sometimes can be very messy. And it's a must to have a reliable internet connection, because I have trying um like modifying a project instead of a prototype on from like a cafe or something like that. It's not the best experience when you try it from a cafe network or something like that. It could be very um uh, irresponsive or something like that. It's not the best experience, I would say. And so the generated code sometimes contains minor issues. Doesn't I haven't seen bigger issues, because if your prompts, and if you're a person who provide the accurate instructions to Gemini, so it's mostly good. It can generate um what you are really thinking of. Maybe sometimes it's overdone, like everything is according to the best practices that it can found on the internet or something like that. But what I'm saying is sometimes, like you have this, because it's VS Studio kind of experience, right? Visual Studio Code kind of a VS Code like a experience. So you have certain set of lines. So if your screen width is this much, so when it goes, like when it generates like a lengthy string or something, when it tries to go to next line, it doesn't really do how actually it should go to next line. So it will, when you try to compile the app next time, it will like those kind of places would like give you unnecessary errors, so that you need to manually fix. And quite a couple of time I also experienced like missing parameters when you try to generate something like a processing map, some map or some higher level functionality, which like does little bit of um filtering or something like that. Sometimes it write like the very shorter version of that higher level function, but it miss the parameter. It becomes mostly when not when you generate for the first time, but when you highlight something and like try to modify a existing part and add something more to it. So these are few things that I have noticed, um, as a summary, of the challenges or the things that I would um, ask you to consider when you work with Firebase Studio, because we all have to accept that it is in early stage and it's for a preview. It's really good, what it's giving you, but what it's not giving you is what they're going to improve, I believe. And I always say this because we all in an era that where AI have become very powerful and like tries to automate the things that you used to do from your brain, right? So things that you used to do, write on a paper and figure out and then code. um but I would say AI isn't always smart as you, so you are the person who's guiding all these models. So remember that you are smarter than AI, so you should be able to figure out things, that AI is not capable of figuring out sometimes. Okay, with that, I would go back to my prototype. Okay, here we have the a simple prototype. This is what I told, like, okay, I have an idea now. I have the working version of my idea. I know, like, it may be not the best version, but it's a working version. So this is something that I can start a discussion with another person, right? So I can give an idea, okay, what my idea is going to look like. So this requires an API key. So you have the option to auto generate. What it gonna do is it is going to go to right, Google AI Studio to generate a API key and add it to your billing account or something like that. Because I'm going to use Gemini API, that's what I ask my prototype to do. So either you have the option to click on this one and it'll take you to Gemini Google AI Studio for to manage your keys. So I'm going to use one of my existing keys. So doesn't matter, you get this API key, I'm going to delete it after this session, so it's going to be not valid. But for the demo, I'll use this API key. So from my Google AI Studio, you have the option to create API key. So when you click the create API key, it will ask for your project. If you have any projects that you can link that, so I have this Gemini project, so that I linked it to that project. So I create a so it's already billing to my existing billing account, or you can set up that billing account. So the first iteration of your app prototype is ready. Try it out. So it gives you the edit code option. So now it's the Gemini API key is set up. So this is what I was saying, right? So we for you to plug or you to integrate the API previously, there's whole bunch of things that you need to do. This is like while I'm talking with you guys within this hour, I was able to build my prototype. And so I would get a car like, let's see, Pajero. Just type Pajero. Why Pajero? I don't know. It just came to my mind. So I'll try to download this. Save image. I'll put it to my. I'll put something like the generic car, because I don't want to give even the name of what I'm downloading. So I'm gonna upload a file now, car image. So I'm gonna get the no image selected, please. Okay, change image. What does it say? PNG. Okay, so that's a good place to start. I think we'll try another image. Um, Let me try another image and maybe get a screenshot of it. So downloading. Maybe let's change the image. Do we have that other picture? Okay. So let's type. Okay, so we get this error, right? So I'll show you what I'm gonna do next. So now I'm getting the error, like the car, it's not detecting that I have a car, but it's not detecting that I have uploaded an image, selected an image. So I'm gonna trigger the, so this what you see over here is like something that you can use to, like, mark certain stuff. So I'm gonna select the pencil from here. I'll talk about this in detail later on. um so I can type, even though I have selected an image, I get no image selected error pop up. So what it's gonna do, it's gonna send you a drawing with the selection, so that model has more context, okay, what you are talking about in the screen itself. So there are other couple of ways that you can do this. So this is very one of my favorite features on Firebase Studio. So you have the option to, like, draw something exactly, visually gonna tell the model, okay, what's you're talking about, right? So you have the shapes, you have bunch of other pen option and image option and all that, and you can zoom it out, right? So, and you can provide a particular, like, description of what's happening. And the other option on your left, like, provides you what is happening right now, sort of things, like root is static, and you can change your preferences, like size of your dev tools and all that, and theme of your system, which is not that relevant. So to, I think this is when you want to, okay, see if you have dark mode and light mode enabled, so you can change the system themes and see whether actually it's responsive to what you are saying. Okay, let's try it once again. um okay, why it's showing. Okay, let's type still. When I click get car details after selecting an image, gives me the error. So there are no image selected. Can you help me to fix that? So the other cool thing, every time when it generates something, like when you work on a source controlled app or source control project, where you commit things, you have the option to revert back. The same way you have the option to, like, restore previous version from your discussion with Gemini. So that is also something that I really like. So it gives you that option, like, if you um don't like this version of the fix, or this version of the generated code or something like that, you have the option to revert it back, right? So you can see, so it has detected it, it's applying some changes on page.tsx. um, so we'll wait for a couple more minutes. Let's see what's going on with this version. Okay, it's the same error. Please select an image file to upload. Okay, why it is not considering it as. This should take care of. Let me. For the last time, I'll try this. I'm still getting the same red error pop-up which says snow image selected. Okay, let me try with the image, but let me try uploading something like a PNG. Okay, it's the same. It's something to do with the image picker probably. So yeah, until it get back to us, so what are the other features that you have? So when you have a prototype, so you also have the option to completely open it on a separate window as a browser. And the other cool feature that you got is like a share preview link. So this is like, okay, so you have the working prototype right after you fine tuned your prototype, and now it's ready for you to go ahead and like start a conversation with another person. So what you can do, you can make the preview public from there, so they can scan this QR code on their mobile, and they can also experience the same app that you see on your screen. So that is the coolest thing right now that I really like, because it helps me to like give that person the first person experience, and give me feedback. Like they can simply scan this QR and like start experiencing that on their mobile itself. So, and you can also turn off the public preview later, so no one can access it. And also you okay, well, since it's there, we'll quickly try the image again. No, it's probably something to do with um and since it was, let's try. Can you please fix the image selector as it doesn't as it doesn't nice the image when it's selected, and give the image not selected pop up. Okay, what I'll do, I have a previous project that is similar to what we are doing right now. It is from so this is how you open an existing project. So it's like a flower picker, somewhat similar. You upload a picture of a flower and it tells you bunch of details of the flower instead of the car, which I demonstrated in a previous session, which worked. That is, the file picking option doesn't work, surprisingly. So it's unarchiving right now, so I think it's probably like um, because this project is not source controlled. I did not provide a GitHub repo URL or something like that. This is completely on Firebase Studio, one of the previously developed project. Probably it's now trying to unarchive the project and initialize the project. This is also a prototype that I built when I was doing this talk um, to another set of people. So what I might have to do, because I this is a new API key generated today. Um, can you config this API key to the project? Can you set this Gemini API key to this check instead of string on? Okay, let's give it a couple more minutes to load up. These are some of the things that I shared. Okay, it's sometimes very unpredictable at this stage. I understand it's a preview, but um okay, loads up. So I'll provide the copy this again. What's happening? I'll set to you Gemini API key has been set up. Okay, let me get a flower in Germany. Let's see what flowers are in Germany. So let's see whether it can detect that flower. I'll assume this is a flower. Okay, let me get something like this. And okay, I have no idea what is this flower is. So let's give it a try. Okay, identify flower. Okay, what's that? Gives the error fetching from generative API key expired. Okay. Okay, let's highlight this part and provide the API key so it can remove it from here. Okay, let's try now. Okay. Okay, I think okay, this is the other feature that I'm planning to show you guys. So I clicked on, so you saw that previously it was on the prototype builder mode. So what I'm doing right now is I'm switching to code so that I'll get a like option to search for key. Maybe probably it's, I'll search like, I don't know, API or maybe API key, API underscore key. Now let's see what other classes, because can I hard reset? Yes. Okay. Okay, this is one of the times that I would like to do a reset for the project. I think it's the best time that we do when you have like this server, because it's out of your control, it's not the project. So you can do a restart of your project. So it will assign your project to a new um, VM. So that will kind of did the restart, right? So it's like a resetting to a new VM inside Firebase Studio. Maybe this is the time it is used by many or something like that. Let's try it once more because it was working previously as expected. Um, let's give it a couple more minutes to start the project. Okay, looks like it's spinning up the project. I assume Firebase doesn't have service issues right now. Um, no, it is okay. Last updated 21st of June. Yeah, doesn't have any service issues as of now. It shows. Okay, let's give this. Once again, please set this Gemini API key to the project. Okay. Okay, let's see now. Okay, it cannot identify. Let's switch to the code mode. Let's try to see a little bit where it's giving us. Probably this is UI client. It has a folder called AI zenkit.ts plugin model flows 5 flower. See whether we can see where it has put the API key. What's the prompt here? It's confidence. Okay. Posting Next.js config. Where can we have the API key possibly? Let's ask Gemini itself. Okay, this is the other feature that I wanted to show you guys. So you guys can use okay, where's that? So it's using built-in Gemini model, but you guys can use something like Gemini 2.5, which is the state-of-the-art model from Google. So you can give API key and can start using I can ask in this project, how do I set up Gemini API key? I want to update my API key to a new one. Okay, let's ask the problem as it is to understand. um, App hosting.yaml. No, I think it's not relevant for us. So you can review the changes. Okay, this is where it provides the API key. Okay, let's update the and see what it runs. Let's try to switch to prototype view because now we updated the API key and try to use. Okay, this time it worked. So the identification was success. It says it's a cornflower. This is the scientific name. Confidence is 95%. And like I said, commonly found in France and United Kingdom. So this is the whole experience of using. So you saw, like, I was facing the issue because I'm not expert in web projects, but I'm mostly working with mobile projects. So I wasn't sure where to update the API key and possibly where could be the API key in the project. So it guided me. Okay, this is where the Google AI, where you use the package, that's where you need to insert the API key and provide what's the model that you want to use. And there's a server issue on the code. What do you call the code editor mode? But when you switch to preview, it's all good. It is previewing me, so I switch back to preview and try it out. We can try another flower, probably. Let's try this one. So this is something that I used for one of my previous talks, demonstration. I'll use this guy, identifying basically how fast you can your prototype. Like I said, okay, it's identified. Can see it's in Ireland, UK, and France, and these are the details. And confidence is 95%. So it's probably the name of that flower. What is the let's see, what is this flower? If I get to understand any details now, it's nothing relevant. Yeah, however, I'll upload the flower since I want to make sure that details are correct that it is giving, just to cross check. Purple thistle flower, is that the name? Yes, creeping thistle. So that's the name of the flower. I think it's accurate, as I don't know the flower. So that is how you can build something very fast, your next app idea or something. And also, until you have the app, you have also have the option to publish. So one clicks the moment you publish, so it will use Firebase app hosting, that which I'm not gonna do because I'm not sure about the uh, billing, how much it's gonna cost. I don't want to, like a demo project, so I don't want to push it. But it's a one click. So the moment you set up a billing account and just click, it'll give you a project URL that you can really open up. But if you really want to try it out, like if it's in an idea phase, use this. This is very handy. So you can enable a public preview and give it to your friend, that if you're in a conversation or something like that, so they also can try it out, the app, with you. So if I turn off, yeah. So let's it's the same way. Let's give it a try for a Flutter project, since we are with the topic of Flutter, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a brand new Flutter project. So I'm gonna click here the Flutter icon, right? I'm gonna um, give it build with AI, right? Just so it's going to create a brand new Flutter project for me. It's going to take a couple of minutes setting up the workspace, initializing the environment. The same thing it's going to do. I think it's going to point to the latest Flutter, but we can see what's the Flutter version. As I remember, it's pointing to the latest stable version of Flutter release. And those are the things that I would love to I would love this Firebase Studio to improve, like ability to do switch between, maybe it's there, I haven't tried. So ability to switch between different Flutter versions. So it will ask you, okay, do you want to install the Dart language extension? It's exactly like VS Code running on a VM um, for you. So it will install the, and this is the IDX um, simulator, which is Android simulator. I still didn't see where to how to change or how to point my project to a iOS simulator, unless I download the project and source control and download it from there. And this is very laggy, the simulator in this. So let's try to see what's the Flutter version that we have. um, okay, you don't see get to see the Flutter version in the VM. So yeah, it's pointing to a beta, not the stable, but you have the option to change. um, yeah, the VM is up. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna like I said, the VM is sometimes, because I already experienced the server instability situation, so I'm not gonna do something heavy. I'm gonna point to Gemini and ask, okay, can you build me something? Okay, again, the Gemini API key, right? I'm a big fan of Gemini 2.5, because if you want to know more details about Gemini 2.5, just simply Google it, 2.5, and you can see how it's outperforming, or it's performing against the other features, the pro performance it has, like reasoning stuff, coding, and other intelligent things that it does, like natural conversations and style control, whatever whatnot. All the details about Gemini, and how it has performed against certain categories, and it's also really good for vibe coding, if you're a fan of vibe coding. And how it was benchmarked against all the other state of the art models right now we commonly use. And it's also very affordable, I would say. If you see the pricing, um, right, it's for 1 million token, it's like $10, right, where rest of the models are fairly expensive for me. And I think over the past years, right, over the past few months, Google Cloud, I was trying my cloud Gemini for all the demos, and like multiple other things. So if I go to console, just to show you guys, I wasn't build much. So it's kind of promising for me. um Looking to build cloud. So current month I don't have any, basically. But what about the, how do I, does it show my, does it only show about my current month? And the, I think on May I got just $6 as I remember. Um, can I do like reports? Will it show me my um, just to show you guys group by current month, last 90 days. Let's put it like that way. It's showing probably zero because, okay, like I said, it's $6 because I have some credits. So yeah, it was costed like $6. I'm pretty sure I tried like more than 10 projects, and like certain ideas, building them, communicating with Gemini. So it's fairly affordable because $6 I didn't mind, because it's cheaper than any other subscriptions that I can subscribe right now out there. So let's try to build. Can you can you change the main dot to a simple login screen which has username and password fields including Google sign in button on the bottom, term with and Google icon. Okay, let's say whether we can do this. Um, like I said, it's pretty much capable of doing any UI. Like especially, I have tried animations for Flutter, and some of the animations that I really want. But the only thing is that you need to uh, give the prompt in a very descriptive way. If you know what I mean. Um, so it's installing. So these are the things that it goes and do, like, which is unnecessary. But that is something like, okay, it's now installing the package font awesome Flutter, right? Which that I didn't ask it to do. So that's why I said, if you can give your instructions very well, like, so you can use something like what I used to do, because this was shared by one of my friend. So you go to normal Google Gemini, gemini.google.com, and like the prompt that I gave here, right, to Firebase Studio, to Gemini for my project, I would recommend you write that prompt here and tell Gemini, can you change this to a prompt for me to provide to a AI model? So it will give you a prompt when you write in simple English, right? It will organize it very well. So you take that and come back and update here, so that it will be able to, like, basically for things that if you are changing some animation or something like that. Okay, let's update the file. So now you can see it's changing it to username, password. Nice, perfect, that's what I wanted. An icon, right? So let's see whether this guy can run it. I don't have any faith on this guy, because this guy can badly fail the um, okay, not bad. So you have the login screen. um right. So can you make the username and password field component material design with a background, something like that. Let's see whether it can change. I mean, then again, it's most of the things will work based on how accurate you give your instructions. That's the key thing. And so when you are in this code mode, few things that I would show, like it's pretty much same as Visual Studio Code. This is where you initialize your repository, publish to GitHub. If you connect it, you have the option to run and debug, which I assume that will improve a lot in the future, and I expect it to improve a lot, which is currently like very basic. But the most important part is like, okay, host your web app with Firebase, deploy the Cloud Run, add Gemini API, right? So these things are one click away for you. That's the main thing, and rest of the things are like Flutter Dev Tools and Flutter Property Editor, which came recently, and the like Dev Tools Inspector and all that. And so you also have like, if you go to source controlling, if you initialize this repository, right, you would see, so all your things that you did from, okay, I don't see because I did not, I just initialize the repository. But once you initialize, all of these discussions that you do with Gemini would end up as your commits. So you can basically navigate between um, navigate among your history of the conversation very easily. And you also have the option to install extensions, or same stuff, pretty much similar to what you would get. This is the new section, which is very handy, which got the like, that is docs for Google integrations you can do very easily. And I haven't explored this part, the backend ports, what does it do. But I have tried Google integrations, which is very handy, and you can easily do that. um, let's see what it changed. Okay, it changed completely to like with a gradient and all that. I mean, it looks pretty good to what it does. I know, like, you can build a lot of Flutter things using many other AI models, but what I'm saying here is like, this is on top of a backend infrastructure. So if you are using Firebase or something, you are just one click away. So it's easy to integrate things, rather, like writing code from scratch and adjusting it. Because some of the other tools that I have used, so it can only generate something front end, right? It cannot generate, because um, if you want to pair it up with a, in like a Firebase project or something, for example, if I'm developing a Flutter app, so you need to provide all of these things, provide instructions. But here it's like, it is on top of Firebase, so all the features and integrations that you have with Firebase are easily accessible. And yeah, so that's pretty much that I wanted to share with you guys today. And I'm happy to answer any questions if you guys have. And if you guys have any feedback, please feel free to provide by scanning this QR, so it helps me to improve and fix whatever that I wasn't aware or I did not notice for my upcoming talks. Thank you very much. Back to the host of